Gilbert Burns gets put on the spot to name the most overrated fighter in his division, leading to a general assessment of top talent in the weight class. Durinho joined his former rival and friend, Kamaru Usman, on his podcast with Henry Cejudo. They spent most of the time discussing their fight, which took place 4 years ago, the build-up to it, and their relationship since then. Gilbert's upcoming fight against Michael Morales then became the main focus of the conversation, as Burns tried to convince the hosts and fans that we're going to see a version of him that won't disappoint. He gave his reasons for what significantly contributed to each of his losses during the 3-fight skid. In the case with Belal, it was the injury he suffered early in the fight. For the Brady one, he says he mismanaged cutting weight and it had severe physical effects on him. As for JDM, he thinks it was a simple tactical mistake. Whether or not any of these points hold any degree of validity, Burns seems determined to snap his losing streak, and the Morales fight is definitely a crossroads moment for him. Then, Usman just asked him who's the most overrated fighter in the division.
He's calm, collected, good striking, diverse, good boxing, good kicks, good knees, controls the distance. I think he's freaking dangerous.
But who's the most overrated?
The most overrated? I don't know.
Hey, you ain't got to be nice.
Everybody's very tough on that. Who is overrated?
CM Punk?
On the division, bro, everybody's very tough right there. Jack, Sean Brady, Belal, Shavkat, Ian is very, very tough too.
Covington.
Covington is overrated. That's
Covington's
it.
overrated.
Yeah, Covington is an easy fight for anyone on top there.
Damn.
Easiest fight. Right now, not when you fought him, but right now.
Who's that?
Covington.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully you get that fight, man. I know you've been searching for that one. I agree. I think Kobe.
I would love to see that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think stylistically it's a great fight for you.
Yeah, that's a great, amazing fight, but I don't think he wants that.
Okay. Well.
Ray Longo and Kenny Florian break down JDM versus Makhachev. Since the initial shockwaves caused by Dana's latest announcement stream died down on social media, the time for endless technical analyses and narrative building has come. The biggest matchups dropped by White will dominate the MMA space for a while. How is Della Maddalena going to handle Makhachev's offensive grappling? And how does he look on the ground against him in case Islam is successful in securing a top position? Or how will Islam react when punched in the face by Jack at welterweight? These are the interesting questions that Ray Longo and Kenny Florian are also interested in, and they shared their early thoughts on the matchup. Many questions will be answered in what is now one of the most anticipated title fights this year, a clash of high importance that has the potential to play out in so many different ways, once again affecting not only the welterweight division, but the one below it, as Islam might even choose to go back down if he loses.
I love JDM. Obviously, I'm always going to go towards the guys with the stand-up. I got bias. But I think Islam is a tough fight for him. I really do. I think he's got, his stand-up is way more squared away, I believe, than Belal's, and he's got the discipline with the wrestling. I believe that's a tough matchup.
Kenny, I do think Islam can challenge Jack in all phases of the game, right? They're two separate conversations. I think the listeners and the viewers of this understand how aligned Kenny and I are in terms of the long-term potential of Jack to hold this damn thing. But Kenny, right? I mean, you think that's a very competitive fight with Islam, do you not?
I think so, just based on his grappling and well-roundedness and experience. I think that he could definitely pose some problems for JDM. However, I would say this, that I don't think he could dole out the same level of power as some of the 170-pounders, and I also don't think he can withstand the same kind of shots. I have a hard time believing that there's any 155-pounder in the world that could take the same kind of shots that Belal Muhammad took in that fight on Saturday night.
Right.
Makhachev's teammate reveals the soon-to-be former lightweight champion's intense preparations for the JDM fight. We still don't know when the fight itself will take place or the location of the event, but it's safe to assume it's not too far off. Makhachev has been chomping at the bit to return to the octagon. At least, that's what he's been telling the Russian media for weeks, when it was still unclear who he'd be fighting next. Now that it's official, he's challenging Jack Della Maddalena. It looks like he's taking an entirely different approach to fight preparations. Usually, fighters from Team Khabib, under his leadership as head coach, go through intense training camps, but only after their fights have been announced. Well, before we even know when or where the Dagestani is challenging for JDM's crown, Islam is already going through extremely difficult training sessions with an experimental touch to them. Whether it's Khabib trying to create special conditions to prepare him for welterweight and the threat Della Maddalena poses, or it's MAKHACHEV'S own idea, things look interesting in his gym right now. His teammate Makhacharap in an interview with the Russian channel Usha revealed that Islam has already started preparing for JDM, and the intensity is at the highest level he's ever seen from the jump. Zaykunov says Makhachev is having sparring sessions with 3 opponents at the same time and handling it well.
Очень сильно готовился, он троих выносил в клетки. Но подсечки хорошо заходили у него. Этими подсечками у меня последний раз тоже замучил, если честно. Не знаю, как они у него так хорошо получается. В нужный момент она у него выходит. Но он ловит как-то, даже на спаррингах.
Big John McCarthy explains to a confused Josh Thompson why the UFC chose to put Charles Oliveira against Ilia Topuria in the vacant lightweight title fight instead of Arman Tsarukyan, who has beat the Brazilian and hasn't lost a fight since. Charles has been asking for a title fight for a while now, promising not to accept anything other than a belt attached to it. His decision loss to Tsarukyan was very close, and he did beat Michael Chandler after that one. So considering he's still one of the most dangerous lightweights in the company, with a significantly large fan base, it's not difficult to see why UFC wanted him to headline the event in June. But there is another factor at play in this situation, and that's Dana punishing Arman for pulling out of his fight with Islam last time. UFC's position on pullouts before consequential fights is no secret, especially if the brass thinks a fighter could have continued, but decided to play it safe.
This is what I want to know, though. How did you end up with Charles and not Arman Tsarukyan? He's the #1 contender.
Oh, hold on. What do you mean? You want to know? Do you want me to spell it out for you?
Yes, I do.
Here. Pullout. Pull out. He pulled out of a championship. Okay, there you go.
Times, yeah.
Pulled out of a championship.
I'd have a lot
fight.
more kids if I didn't do that.
Thank God you pulled out, dude. I'm serious. Look, again, people don't realize how much money goes into the marketing of one of these championship fights. And when you have someone pull out, and you can sit there and say whatever you want as far as, well, there was an injury. Okay, there was an injury, right? That's not what, in the end, that we've been kind of told. And that's by people that know other people pretty well. And weight was a problem. He got too big. Making the weight was going to be a problem. And so instead of fighting and not fighting for the belt, because he could not win the belt if he weighed in heavy, it was, I'm hurt. Okay,